Hello and welcome. You're watching Best of the Bets. My name's Christina Nicolaides and we're looking at Sunday's action for the Premier League. We are looking at the Capital One Cup final and we're looking at some of the European games as well. As usual, I am not on my own. I have our football expert and editor of bestofthebets.com. His name is Dymond. And I've got Gareth Walker, who is our bookie extraordinaire. Thank you for being with me once again. So I'm not on my own.
Pleasure.
We are starting with the Capital One Cup final. We're starting with Bradford versus Swansea. Do Bradford really have a chance?
Well, the betting would say not. 8.5 they are to win the match in 90 minutes. The draw's 4.3. Swansea are 1.4 to win the game in 90 minutes. A real David against Goliath clash. Yeah. Has David got any chance?
I think there'll be a lot of neutrals wanting Bradford to win, but I think that would be slightly unfair to some of the achievements that Swansea have met in this competition this season, because they've been fantastic at times. Chico being injured for Swansea is going to be a big miss. Yeah. 6'2" centre half. Yeah. He would have been key dealing with Big Jim Hansen for Bradford if Bradford choose to go sort of quite direct on the day. But I can't see there being a fairy tale ending to this one. I think it's just a step too far for Bradford. Yeah. I expect Swansea to keep a lot of possession, make use of an expansive Wembley surface. Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on Gary Jones in the Bradford midfield. He's been very influential, but it's going to be a big ask of his 35-year-old legs. So I think Swansea will win this, and I think they'll probably end up winning it quite comfortably.
I'm really looking forward to this. Absolutely fantastic that we've got a big cup final between two teams who really care about it. It's not just the same old teams going across to Wembley as if it's par for the course, second or third trip of the season. And what a fairy tale it would be if Bradford can manage it. They're coming into the game with very poor form, really. You look at the league, they're 11th in League Two. They've won 1 in 8 in the league. There's absolutely no doubt at all that the cup exploits have taken their toll on the league. Their last match, they lost to basically the then bottom AFC Wimbledon. But Swansea, I don't know, I've got a little question mark against Swansea. Michael Laudrup's made it extremely clear that he really prioritises this game and he's taken absolutely no chances. He basically surrendered the game at Anfield last week, rested Williams, rested Michu, make sure they're fit for the game. So everyone's expecting Swansea to win. I'm going to take a chance on Bradford at the prices. I just think you've got to give Bradford the respect that they've knocked out Wigan, they've knocked out Arsenal, they've knocked out Aston Villa.
I think it's worth bearing in mind that they've only won 1 of their 4 games against Premier League opposition in 90 minutes, and I think they'll really miss the intimidating close surroundings of Valley Parade.
I'd be happy to take a chance with Bradford. 8.5 within 90 minutes. Yeah. If it does go to penalties, Bradford would be the team I'll be backing all day long. They've got an incredible run of victorious penalty shootouts. So I'm looking for the romance in this situation, and Bradford at the prices are the team that I'll be having my interest bet on Sunday.
It would be a great day if that was to happen. I think the first goal is going to be crucial, certainly the timing of the first goal. I think if Swansea do get it, it will be a comfortable victory for them. The longer it goes on, then maybe we'll start to see something like quite extraordinary unravelling. But I think they'll get it. Half-time, full-time Swansea for me.
Which is priced at 1.8 and would be a better way of playing Swansea rather than taking 1.4 about the win. 1.8 have to be ahead at half-time and win the match in 90 minutes, but much better price you're getting there.
OK, let's find out what Mike Holden has to say about this particular game.
I can see it being a very low-scoring affair. I think Swansea will keep a clean sheet, or that will certainly be the emphasis of what they're trying to do. Try not to concede free kicks in dangerous areas. Try not to concede too many corners. Don't let themselves be too vulnerable to these set pieces. Just keep measured possession and not let Bradford make them uncomfortable, basically. So for me, I think the way to play this one is on the correct score market, and I fancy 1-0 Swansea and 2-0 Swansea.
What are we looking at odds-wise?
A bit of dutching from Mike there, taking 2 scores, covering 2 options. 1-0 to Swansea is 6.2 and 2-0 to Swansea is 5.7.
OK. Before we look at the Premier League games for Sunday, we're going to start with a promotion.
Yes, this applies to the 2 Premier League games on Sunday and the Premier League game on Monday, as well as Saturday's games. If there is a penalty awarded in any of this weekend's Premier League games, then HeavenBet will be refunding losing correct score and first-last goal scorer bets for that game.
OK, and the first game we're looking at is Manchester City versus Chelsea.
Manchester City 1.9, the draw 3.7, and Chelsea are available at 4.3 for this game.
The thing with Man City is they're so strong at home. They're still so strong at the Etihad. I think it's 44 games since they failed to score in a home game. Haven't lost a home game since 2010. It's an interesting one, but Chelsea have been very leaky in defence of late. I think they've conceded in their last 9 games in the Premier League. I expect quite a lot of goals in this game, actually. It was an extremely boring 0-0 draw when the sides met at Stamford Bridge. I think we could see a reversal of that. I expect Man City to win. I'm going to go for some big prices about there being 6 goals or more in the game.
Oh, interesting, yeah. It's 10.6 for that bet. You can have a bet on how many goals in the game. Doesn't matter which team scores them, but 6 or more goals in total in the match is available at 10.6. I'm interested in the record that these two teams have in games against the other big sides.
Okay.
Manchester City at home, they lost against Manchester United, and they've only drawn against Liverpool, Arsenal and Everton at home, and didn't really convince in any of those games.
Yeah.
You could argue they were lucky to get points in all 3 of those games. Chelsea, on the other hand, they went to White Hart Lane and won, they went to the Emirates and won. They went to Goodison and won, so they'll have no fears going to the Etihad. For all City's great home record, they've held on to it by the skin of the teeth. And this could be the game that the record finally goes. I like Chelsea here at 4.3.
OK, so we're going to look at Newcastle versus Southampton. Pochettino did get his first win.
Newcastle at 2.1, the draw's 3.5, and Southampton are available at 3.8.
I don't think you can underestimate how important this game is now. Both teams locked on 27 points in 15th and 16th position going into the weekend. So this is an opportunity for one of those sides to just pull away from that relegation battle now, you'd like to think for good.
Southampton played so well against Manchester City and Manchester United. You can see them giving Newcastle a real run for the money.
They will do, and I think we can't look sort of beyond the fact that Newcastle have been in the Ukraine and they've had trouble post-Europa League this season.
Yeah, they have.
I think they've only won 2 out of 8 Premier League games coming back from Europa League matches. So, funnily enough, one of those games was at Southampton early in the season when they lost 2-0. And it was after that game that I wrote on the site that Newcastle are in relegation trouble. They've obviously invested well, but you know, do they have enough to sort of carry it on throughout this run of fixtures? I'm not sure. I like Southampton at the prices, as Gareth said.
Without a doubt, 1 loss in 9 Premier League games, and that's not been an easy run of fixtures for Southampton. That's they've played 5 of the top 6 within that run. These are essentially 2 teams of very similar ability, in my opinion, and you've got one who are on fire, flying, playing best football they have all season, and they're playing against a team that have been in the Ukraine. To me, it's an absolute no-brainer. Southampton 3.8, great price.
Both teams are scoring, conceding goals at the moment, so I think we will see both teams on target. And Newcastle have lost 2-1 on 6 occasions this season, so that could be a way to look.
That's priced at 10 for 2-1, maybe 3-1 I like at 18, or the both teams to score option, which looks very solid. That's available at 1.7.
OK, we're going to look at Monday's action now. West Ham versus Tottenham, the Gareth Bale show.
West Ham are 3.6 for this game. The draw's 3.5. Tottenham available at 2.2.
Sam?
I think Gareth Bale has been an absolute startling form, but I suppose if there's any manager who feels that he could employ tactics to stifle him, it's Sam Allardyce.
Yeah.
And I think the worrying thing is when you've got a player who you're relying on so much, if you take him out of the equation, it only takes one big cumbersome centre-half to go right through him, and then where are your goals going to come from? He scored their last 6 prior to the trip to France on Thursday. Tottenham are unbeaten in 10 games in the Premier League. They're going very well, but their last 3 have all been very tight. And I think this is going to be another tight game. 2 rivals who really don't like each other at all. I think it's going to be a very tense Monday evening. And I just think we've seen West Ham stifle some sides this season. I remember particularly the 0-0 draw at home to Manchester City. I think we could see something similar, but under 2.5 goals is how I'm going to play this.
And under 2.5 goals is available at 1.9, which is a very tempting price. West Ham had that great win against Chelsea, but since then it's 2 wins in 11, and they'll be looking round to think, well, we need a few more points to make sure that...
and they are back at home, which is a big relief for them.
Yeah, their home form is a lot better than their away form. Certainly the low-scoring ones are the options I'll be looking at. 1-0 is 8.9. That's 1-0 to West Ham, or 1-0 to Tottenham is 7.1.
Yeah.
If you do think Bale can continue his incredible run, he's 5.8 to score the first goal.
OK, we've got 2 games for the European action that we're looking at. We've got Serie A, first of all, Inter Milan versus AC Milan.
Well, the thing about this game that's incredible is that there hasn't been a draw in this fixture in the last 16 meetings, which is incredible because
I can't see it being a draw.
You'd think, well, surely this is the sort of game that does produce draws, but it just doesn't. 16 times, the last 16 times these two have met, it hasn't been a draw. AC Milan have got all the form going into this game.
Yeah.
Inter are out of form. I think they've only won 2 Serie A games in 2013. They did beat AC earlier in the season in the game that was nominally AC at home. This one is nominally Inter at home, but of course neither side has any home advantage in this one. I just think with AC Milan winning that game against Barcelona, that's they can't get any better than that. There isn't going to be anything that happens that's a bigger occasion than that. And I'm going to side with the outsiders here. I think Inter Milan at 3.2. I'm going to disregard the form book. I'm going to go with Inter Milan at 3.2. And you look at the scores that they've been in this fixture. It could be anything. There's some crazy old scores. 3-0 is 23, 4-2 at 31. I'd be looking to be going outside of the ordinary scope of scores you look at with this because it seems a fixture traditionally that anything can happen. Form out the window, normal correct scores out the window. Yeah, let's go for some big prices.
It was a dreadful performance by Inter all round, from the players to the manager at Fiorentina last week, and they were duly thrashed. But they haven't been great away, so they are back at home, as Gareth says. Do they have the advantage? But they're unbeaten at 10 at the San Siro. So this is a good opportunity for them. I was invested quite heavily on Inter in the first game at 2-1. As the home side now, they're actually a bigger price than they were for that away game. Diego Milito will be a huge loss. He's out to the end of the season. But with Cassano in the team, and he's always got a score to settle with Milan after the way he left last season, I just think they've got enough to nick it. I like 2-1.
2-1, which is 9.3.
Okay, and moving on to French League One, Paris Saint-Germain versus Marseille. It will be David Beckham's official debut.
Paris Saint-Germain 1.5 to win the game. The draw's 4, and Marseille are 7.7, and they really need a win to try and close the gap.
The sides played out a really thrilling 2-2 draw. It was a very thrilling first half earlier in the season, but that was when Gignac was in great goal-scoring form for Marseille. He's not now. And they're also going to be missing Jordan Ayew up front because he was sent off against Evian 111 seconds after coming on as a substitute, remarkably for 2 bookable offences.
Was he told in the dressing room to play just like Joey Barton? Is that what went wrong?
Possibly that could have been what he was told. But they are light up front now, Marseille, and they've been having problems at the back as well. Yeah. I think this is such a big game for both sides. I think PSG could end up blowing them away if they get an early lead. I think one thing to note as well is the fact that these two have really struggled with discipline this season. 14 red cards between them, which is absolutely absurd. I don't know if Gareth's going to lay me a price on a red card, but I think what it could mean is we could see lots of free kicks, possibly penalties, and opportunities to score from set pieces. But for the actual result, I think PSG could win this by a scoreline 3-0, and I'm going to look to take PSG on the -1 handicap.
3-0 is available at 9.3. The PSG -1, so they have to win by 2 or more goals.
Yeah.
That's available at 2.3, so that's a more exotic way of playing, siding with PSG rather than just taking the 1.5 about the outright home win. 2.3, they have to win by 2 or more goals. I think that PSG will win. The Classique, great game. This is the match between the two teams with all the history in Europe and all of the glory that France have had on the European stage has been from these two teams. PSG, I think, have got their eye on the Champions League this season. I'm prepared to accept that the defeat at Sochaux was partly caused by the come down after that fantastic win in Valencia.
Yeah.
They'll be fully focused on this one. I think it'll be tighter than Sam, but I think 2-1, which is 7.7, or maybe 1-0, which is 5.8. PSG to edge it. They should have enough class.
Okay, best bet for Sunday.
I think I'm going to go for Inter Milan at 3.2.
Okay.
I think Inter Milan are a great bet. I think an even better bet are Southampton at 3.8. Really can't get enough of that price. The trip to the Ukraine for Newcastle is just such a big obstacle to them preparing well for this game. Southampton flying along, 3.8. Yeah, that's my best bet of the weekend, without a doubt.
Okay, and for me, Capital One Cup final, Swansea to beat Bradford, 3-0.
3-0, which is priced at 7.4.
For you to place your bets, remember it's www.heavenbet.com. Do tweet us at Best of the Bets, and to watch this back, head to www.bestofthebets.com. Look out for our Champions League special when we look at the second leg of the last 16, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye-bye.